Hello and welcome to another video in this series. We're fixing the oil leak, and in the previous video I disassembled the engine, these partially enough to get to the oil seals, and pointed out where all the oil seals were. And in the process I noticed that one of the screws that held this case on, the one that goes in this hole here, was too short and it wouldn't tighten up, and it had stripped out some of the threads on the inside. The threads, you can see at the top they're missing. They should go all the way to the top, like these here, and like this one. So I used a tap and screwed it in here, cleaned out the threads, took a bunch of metal out, and threaded down a little deeper and found a longer bolt. And it looks like that'll be fine now. So in this video, in the first part, I'll replace the oil seals. There's 6 of them. One of them is up here in the top. And then there's 2 more here. Let's see, the shift shaft oil seal, and this one here for the drive sprocket. And then in this case here, there's 3 more oil seals. There's one here, one up here where the neutral pointer is, and another one for the sprocket. So what I think I'll do is I'll start with the one for the shift shaft, and that'll probably be the hardest one to get out. I haven't really done this a whole lot, but I have managed to dig it out before. This tool here is a seal puller, but we won't be able to use it for here because you can't get under the seal. This works well with the if there's no shafts. The shaft has been removed, and you can take the shift shaft out, but you have to take it from the other side. You have to remove a lot of parts. It's probably a lot easier to try to dig that oil seal out. So that's what I'll do now. I did think about drilling a hole in here and put a screw in, trying to pull it out, into the edge of the oil seal between the case and the shift shaft. But you can't do that, and I'll show you why. Because here's another oil seal from a different ATC90, and this is the way it's made. There's a thin metal band wraps around it, and there's this rubber coating around it. And if you try to drill into this oil seal, you're going to hit this metal band, and the bit's going to slip off to the one edge and either damage the case, or the other edge and damage the shift shaft. So there's nothing to drill a hole into. So there goes that idea. So we're going to have to just try to dig it out. And here's a thin screwdriver. I'm going to see if I can get it out with that. It's turning a little bit. Coming apart a little bit, but that's okay. Oh, looks like it's almost out. Okay, there it is. And you can see how loose this is. This should be tight. All right, here's the new oil seal. And if you forgot which way it went, you notice that one side is smooth and the other side has a little ridge. If you look in there carefully, you'll see a spring. Well, the side here with the spring is the one that goes towards the oil. One side is going to have the oil on it, and the other side is going to be the one you want to keep clean. You want to be oil free, otherwise you would need a seal if you didn't care. So it's going to go in this way, and I like to put some oil or grease on here to make it slide in a little smoothly here. Here's where I would like to have a socket, but don't have one long enough to go over that, so I'll try this here. Okay, that seems to be as far as it'll go. There's a ledge in there, so it'll only go down so far. So we got 1 of 6 done. Now let's try the one for the sprocket. This one over here. All right, I think I can get this one out with the oil seal puller. There's a little bit of room on the side here. It'll probably damage the seal, but you know, we don't really care. That one popped right out. Okay, then we'll go through the same process to install this new one in, and it'll go this way. Wrong one. Okay, there's seal number 2. And we might as well put the sprocket on. We don't want to forget. And it goes on this way. The splines here are going to go out for the transmission, the sub-transmission. Okay, that's all for the engine side. Now we'll do the covers. We'll start off with this one here under the stator. There's something else I forgot to mention. Some of these will have the size on them. They're little tiny numbers. It's right there. It says 20 by 35 by 8. You've got the outside dimension 20 or 35, inside dimension is 20, and the thickness is 8 in millimeters. And this is slightly wrong actually. The specs say this should be 20.8. So I don't know if 8/10 of a millimeter is going to matter, because on the inside is a little softer. So anyway, they sent it to me in a kit, so I guess it must be right. Or it must work anyway. This seal is going to come off, and I'm pretty sure we can use this tool for it. put it on the same way. You noticed it was on this way because the oil is on the other side. So this will go down, and I'm going to use a socket for the rest of these because there's no shafts going through. Now this one we'll take off from the other side because the oil is going to be in here in the sub-transmission. I want to clean this up a little bit more, and then I'll reinstall that seal. Okay, there's one here at the top, and you can push this out. Make it a little easier to get the seal out. Okay, I'll clean that up a little bit, and then I'll get back to the video. Well, I'm going to try grease instead of oil and see if it makes it any easier to get these oil seals in. Don't think it should make much difference, but we'll see. That wasn't too hard. And it's back out again. Okay, one more, and it goes in the point space. Here's what it looks like now. The spring's almost coming off, and that's pretty common. So anyway, we'll do that one the same way. This doesn't have any ledge or anything to stop it. Looks so. I guess we just stop when it's flush. Messy. See, it goes in this way. Right. Okay, there it is. All right, that's all the seals. All right, the gasket's on now, so we can just slide this left side case on. The only thing is, you want to make sure that this slot here, this is the end of the shift drum, make sure it lines up with this here. So you may have to turn this shaft a little bit to get it to line up. And then it'll just drop down. And don't forget the sprocket, the drive sprocket, or this will be coming apart again. All right, now for the stator. Hard to get out, it's magnetized. And these bolts actually I took off a 110 engine. It's the same length. And they just apparently they changed to bolts instead of screws for the ATC 110s. And now the rotor. And there's a Woodruff key. It's stuck inside the rotor this time. Sometimes it gets stuck in the slot on the crankshaft. Anyway, we want to make sure we have that. And we'll just line it up. Okay, well next I want to put this side cover on the cylinder head. You put it on, you want to be real careful not to, not to get hung up on that ledge when you put this on. It just occurred to me, there is another seal. It's a little tiny one, looks like this. And this seal goes on the exhaust valve stem, which means to get to it, I'll have to take the cylinder head off. And I wasn't really planning to do that. It's a little more work. I guess the most time-consuming part will be cleaning the gasket surfaces. I got this surface clean already. I'll have to do this one here. There's one on the back for taking the rocker arms off. And head gasket. And the only backtracking will be taking this part back off again. So I guess I'll go ahead and do that. I'm not really sure that this seal even would cause the engine to throw oil. I think it's mostly a seal to stop the oil from coming out of the crankcase and going up the valve stem into the cylinder head. And in the combustion chamber, it would where it would burn, that would cause the engine to smoke, wouldn't cause it necessarily to throw oil. And there's only one, it's on the exhaust side. Maybe because that's the side that's down. The exhaust is the bottom part here. And this is the intake side up here. Okay, well, let's start. I'll start by taking this off again. All right, to get the cylinder head off, we're going to have to remove the cam, and it's being held down by the cam chain. That's what's holding it all together. So we'll start off by removing this point space. Next to these two bolts, and now the camshaft. And there's a little hole here, and it has to be pointing up towards the top of the cylinder head up here. And when it was pointing that way, the cam lobes will be down. You can't really see them now, but then it should just pull right out. Okay, the sprocket won't fit out through this hole, so we'll just let it fall down on the bottom. There's some screws on the side. You can loosen them up now if you want, and then we'll take the cylinder cover off. Okay, now the cylinder head should come off. Sometimes they're hard to get off. A lot of dirt and stuff gets down in these holes here along these studs. But it looks like this one's loosening up. Oh, that came off pretty easily. Alright, well, now to get the oil seal out. Well, you can see this piston has a huge dome in it. Usually they're flat on the top, so it's definitely aftermarket. Probably explains some of why the compression was so high. Next, the rocker arms, and to get them off, you have to take the side cover off. There's three Phillips head screws. Then these two rocker arm shafts. And then the rocker arms. Okay, now we're ready to take the valves off. Actually, we don't need to do the exhaust valve. That's the one that has the oil seal on it. I just got this tool recently. For the longest time I struggled with an old compressor from It's for a car, actually. It was a lot bigger than this. I used some pieces of PVC pipe to try to fit it right, and they would keep falling off. And gosh, it's so much easier using the right tool. I'm not sure it's the best quality, but you know, it works. That's the main thing. What we're doing is we're taking those two little keepers off the end of the valve. And we have to compress the spring. There's one of them. There's the other one. Pretty simple. Okay, this little cap fell off. And there's two springs in there. Okay, now we're, let's see if I can get this to show. I'm going to pull this little cap off here. It's a cap for the oil seal. That's what we've been going for. We can push the valve out. Moving, it should come up. Okay, and the oil seal, old oil seal is sticking through there. There it is. All right, now we can put it back together again. Stick the valve through. You know what? Come this far, I might as well lap these valves. Not real shiny. I don't know. They're had good compression, but it won't hurt. It'll only take a minute. So I don't know, where does it all end? Anyway, I'll go ahead and do that, and then I'll get back to the video. Well, the intake valve is out now, and that seat looks really clean. Look how shiny it is. The exhaust valve is fairly good. And here's the intake valve. It hardly needs to be lapped. Exhaust valve is a little dirtier, so I'll do a quick cleanup, and that should probably be good enough. Okay, I got the valves lapped. I did that off camera. And next, to do the reassembly, I'll do the valves and the rocker arms. All this work was for this little tiny seal here. we're going to install this seal. We'll put the valve in, and we'll put the seal on it, and we'll put it so the smaller part is facing up. And then we'll put this cap on it. And when we put the cap down, the seal, this little round part, will just poke through the top here. Okay, there's a seat here. It's the same seat on the intake side. And there's a little tiny seat, which you might not even notice it, but it's on here. Might be kind of stuck on with the oil. See, there is another seat here, and it's the one that the inner spring rests on. Okay, well, let's go. I'll start with the exhaust valve. And the oil seal. Oh, before I forget, I better put that larger seat on too. And then this cap. Okay, so when the cap's on, it'll look like this. Okay. Now we have a center spring, an outer spring, and we have this part here with the two valve keepers in it. So we'll put those on top. And then we'll compress the spring so that these keepers they'll rest in this little groove here. This part's a little tedious, or a little fiddly, as some people say. That's the bar right in the way. Here we go. I don't think the camera's picking this up very well, but I'm compressing the spring down, and when the valve sticks through enough, the seats will fall down in there. Sometimes you got to reposition them, and you can pull the spring around a little bit. If you use a screwdriver, you want to get one that's not magnetized. I sometimes use a toothpick or something wooden. Okay, and it'll look like this when they're in. And you do the same thing with the intake side, except you don't have the oil seal. This video is getting a little long, so I'm going to stop it here. All the seals are in now, and that was the main point of this video series. So in the next video, I'll finish up the reassembly of the engine. Thank you for watching.